Hello and welcome. In this episode of Gracecast, you're going to learn 3 proven promotion strategies to implement this quarter. So these are going to be ideas, and when done right, a neatly packaged promotion or sales offer is one of those ways that you can really fuel growth by expanding revenue from existing customers and converting those warm leads that are hiding in your email list. So be sure to listen to the end because we have a live training coming up that we want to make you aware of, that you can really go deeper into some of the things and principles we're going to talk about in this episode and be able to more have a higher ability to take action on what we're going to share. So today I'm joined, missing Blaine today, but that's okay because I'm joined with a Gracecast alumni, Chad Grau, who's our resident digital marketing expert. Chad, thanks for joining and welcome back, sir.
It's good to be back talking marketing with you. We'll miss Blaine, but I think we'll still knock this out of the park.
Right. And we're going to do a series of kind of a 2-part series. So this episode is going to be going out. And then if you're listening in 2 weeks here, we're going to have another episode coming up. So I was telling Chad before we got started that Blaine just might lose his co-host spot. And if I can convince Chad anyways to take that over. But, Chad, we've done interviews before. So anyone who's been listening for a long time, you've heard from Chad before. So you know his background and really how involved and instrumental he's been in our business. And those have been, we've always received great feedback on the content and interviews, Chad, that you've shared in the past. And to set the stage, you've been the primary person who's kind of been behind the scenes, leading the charge and all of the different promotions and launches that we've been doing over the course of probably 3 years or so. And those have attributed to a sizable chunk of our growth over that time period. So definitely our go-to consultant, subject matter expert in this topic. But for anyone who's maybe newer to the content here, Chad, do you just want to kick things off by talking and sharing maybe a quick version of your background, how you got started with digital marketing, how we connected, and then some of the things that you are really leading the charge with today with our business?
For sure. Again, thanks for that intro. And as I always say, I feel really fortunate to be a part of what Seven Sons and Grace Card are doing. So I'm trained as a pharmacist. I have no marketing or business degrees. I was a pharmacist in long-term care. Started a little side hustle that turned out to be something I really loved in health and fitness back in 2010. And I did that for about 7 years. And ultimately around 2015, 16, 17, I found that I was more so falling in love with marketing than business, and learned about email automations and automations that saved me time and brought more constant visibility to my customers, my prospective customers. And I said, you know what, I think that I know there's a market for this. So I went into consulting for email automation to help drive sales. So around the end of 2017, Blaine connected with me online. And I came to the farm. We had a nice one-day meeting. Actually, Brooks, you were on your honeymoon, I believe.
It was, yeah. That was the time period.
But then we started working together shortly thereafter. So this is our 5th year of working together. And I've certainly learned a lot being around good company. And so today, nowadays, my main focus with Seven Sons is, as you mentioned, helping to really kind of drive some of the promotions and be like the kind of project manager of sorts for that, and connecting with multiple people that help with social media, and with Brant, who puts together great offers that I just kind of help working with you all and your story and what you do well to just help tell the story, usually via email, but just with some ideation around how to get that message out there elsewhere. So some work in the paid advertising space as well, but that's where I live most of the week, and actually now kind of developing SMS.
Yep.
It's another new channel. So.
Yep. We're always trying new things. And, I always tell people that you go super deep in, several different focus areas: retention marketing, email marketing, Facebook advertising, and retargeting. And we've, our business has really benefited from all of that. But what I also, whenever I'm talking about what you do for us, I'm always telling people how Chad has just a really solid level understanding of just marketing principles. So you apply those to focus areas, but you've got the principles nailed in and what it takes to craft a great offer and really serve a customer. And you're constantly, as we're kind of talking about different ideas, advocating for the customer and really being that voice for them as well. So it's always appreciated. So, as we're talking about, I know you've kind of prepared for us some insights here, and are set to deliver on the value that I promised in the intro, talking about promotion ideas here. But before we dig into what ideas you have for us to share and that people can kind of take home and implement on here in the very near future, let's just talk a little bit about promotions as a whole before we talk more about the what. So kind of digging into this topic, when you think about your experience and even just as a consumer and customer, what in your mind really are the key factors that craft a well-packaged and successful promotion that's actually valuable to customers, they want to participate in, versus something that's a complete flop or maybe is a pet peeve that you've seen other marketers do that are out there?
Yeah. A few come to mind right away, and this is totally off the cuff, right? So kind of we
Yep.
talked about. So this is, I think these are helpful answers because I don't have to think much, right? So,
Yep.
and that's a segue into my number one tip is don't make your customers think too much. Simplification is very underrated. Meaning, if I get an email, um, you don't have to explain the entire offer in detail. Keep things simple. So there shouldn't be multiple links in a sales email, multiple calls to action, especially like in the main section where if you're trying to generate a sale. It should be pretty straightforward. There should be maybe an image, for sure, be an image of what you're trying to offer me. There should be a button. There should be a link at the very top. And they all should go to the same place. Like, don't make me make a decision.
Mm-hmm.
That also applies um, to any paid media. If you buy ads, it should be pretty simple and straightforward. So that's my number one. And
Yep.
and on a sales page on your website, simplicity. I promise, simplicity is very underrated. And effective. I wish I could remember the quote. I'll probably butcher it, but people who are successful at making the complex things simple, like they're successful in what they do. So if you
Right.
can apply that to a sales email or a sale, uh, try to help your customers come to a decision and keep things simple, because ultimately the goal is just to have them make a decision. If they don't make a decision 100% of the time, the answer is no, they're not going to buy.
Yeah.
So, but if they come to a decision, yes or no, you got at least 50-50, right? Or something like that. So
Right.
that's number one.
Yep.
Number two is visibility, giving really spending some creative time thinking, how can I make what I'm offering more visible? How can I get it in front of people, and how can I go direct to them? That's why I love email. It's a direct relationship with someone's inbox. It's why SMS is something that is newer to me as far as implementation, but it's direct. So on that note, there are things you can, and we'll talk about some of these principles. But when I say more visibility, it's for example, on your Grace Cart website at the announcement bar, if you have a little special going on,
Yep.
put a link to that product there for however your sale long your sale window is. One of the things we've started doing with Seven Sons is during our month-long promotions, we switch out our homepage banner, which is extremely high value real estate, from our main headline to this sale. So right now, the recording of this podcast is the winter beef sale. So that's what our homepage is, and it links right to the sale.
Yep. And all this
So
makes
there
a
are other things you can do in emails, but visibility, Facebook and Instagram stories, having a page post, try to get more direct rather than assume that a page post on your Instagram or Facebook page is going to show up in their news feed. You probably need to invest to get more visibility there with the paid promotion. So visibility and really thinking through, where's my customer at? How can I get my offer in front of them? And so those are two that come together right away. Actually, I'm gonna add one more third one, which we're going to talk about.
Yep.
And that's, you've got to spend some time making an offer they cannot say no to, if at all possible. So those are off the cuff my big three.
So combining a great offer that your customers are interested in, you have high confidence in that, creating a lot of visibility on that, because, and it makes sense, just as a marketing principle, we're all competing for our customers' attention. And there's a lot of other people out there who's competing for that same attention. We all only have so much of that. So you hear all the time, people are talking about how attention spans are just getting smaller and smaller. People don't really, read emails anymore. They don't really read websites anymore. They scan through them. So if you have a offer that you think your customers are going to be highly interested in, and it's the best time to buy, creating that visibility for that, in really any place, all the high, which you can think about digital marketing and so many, other metaphors in the physical world, anywhere where there's a lot of traffic and you can get a lot of eyeballs, making sure that you're using that valuable real estate to bring attention to the promotion. So that makes a lot of sense. So did we dig into the first big tip that you had as far as it comes to promotions?
So we made an introduction to that. So, as far as if you want to have an idea to do this quarter, like an introductory offer, if you have something new, which I think to the extent you can be adding new items to your store on occasion, even if it's just kind of repackaging a combination of products, then don't just put items in your store. Plan and prepare to use it as a marketing opportunity to introduce those items.
Yep.
Create some buzz, because if you just put them in your store and it's of the price that they're going to be, I think you miss an opportunity. Whereas if you can make it the main focus of an email, something new's coming next week, even giving a little bit of anticipation, make sure to check back next week, we've got something new. And then having that item be the main focus of your newsletter. Again, when I say main focus, it doesn't mean like write a 2,000 word essay. It's just like, this gets back to my simplification. If I open an email and I read the subject line and it says introducing our new Best of Farm box, then that's what the main components of the email should be about. And then if you take the opportunity to provide a short window, which I think a short window is probably optimal. Maybe opening weekend introductory offer, or for the next 10 days of the month until the end of the month, we have this item on sale at a bonus introductory price of 20% off, or whatever that price is, to take your margins and create some buzz and generate some sales.
Yep.
So I think that, for one, it's going to create more buzz, more emails will get opened. And even if people don't buy, they will at least be more aware of the product than if you just put it in your store and hope they search it. So I think that's an opportunity. And even, to be honest, even if you're listening to this, you're like, I really don't have anything in the pipeline over the next quarter. You probably have had something you've added in the last quarter, and just be honest. And this is something I've worked with people on. Just say, we've added something to our online store within the past few months. Maybe even own, maybe we had a misstep in not communicating, or not, making it aware that this is making our customers aware that this item was available. So to correct that, here it is. Here's this item. We have a special savings, introductory pricing for the next X days. So you can kind of recover it. If that makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense too. Cause I think one thing, if you're in the business running things, you're very, very close to business and no one knows it better than you. So it's so easy to get in that mindset of, okay, well, I released something new 3 months ago and so my customers already know about it. But that's only just because you know about everything that you're doing so well. But if you just put something in your store, I guarantee you, if you have an email list and customers who've bought in the past, 90% of those folks are not aware, depending on the placement, are not aware that that's a new item that you've released. So you're not overdoing it by going backwards to reintroduce something. Another thing that you mentioned that I wanted to kind of double down on is the introductory offer. So you're saying highlight something that's new and then give an introductory, sale or price that has a limited time period on it that creates urgency for people to, again, if you're trying to get people to try something new and make, this new product be successful and worth your time, every product you add adds a certain level of complexity. So you want to make it worth your time. And the best way to test the waters is to, again, make as many customers aware of it up front and give them a reason to try it. And also what it does though, is it puts you in a nice habit of ensuring that when you go to price all of your products, that you're leaving room in there for promotions and for being able to, package this product either in a bundle or another promotion that you do down the road. It ensures that you're leaving room for that. Because I don't know how many people I talk to who, when we start talking about promotions or even just building out a wholesale program and those types of channels, one of the number one things we run into as an objection is that the person just hasn't, and we've done this too, where we just didn't leave enough room on the table to be able to pursue some of those opportunities. So just getting in the practice of not only introducing every new item, it also helps you flex that muscle of making sure that you're thinking ahead about your price point and what you want to do in the future.
Love it. Absolutely, and I've experienced the same thing in connecting with Grace Card clients. So that and just to clarify one more thing, or just to kind of maybe go a little bit deeper
Yep.
to tie in the visibility. So what does visibility look like in the example that I just gave with an introductory offer? Maybe you have a new protein product or a new multi-pack of some quantity, right? And you go through the process of creating, you're going to be profitable with, even at the introductory price, you got the numbers that you're really happy with for your margins, and you've got emails written, and you post it on social media, and you boost it. So when they come to your product page, even if it's just one product, there's the little, one of the things that we take advantage of is the little, like the red sale tags. Whenever you discount an item on sale on Grace Cart,
Yep.
like in the store, like you can customize the text. So we would just, again, from a visibility and simplification clarity thing, we would say introductory pricing through December 10th or whatever the date is. So if they see that right away, the psychology is, oh, well, this is something I want, then I've got to act on it. That's
Yep.
one thing. Like, utilize that tag to drive home whatever your deadline is. And then what I've started doing is at the very top of the product description, I will duplicate the same thing. Introductory pricing available through December 10th or whatever the date is. And I bold it and I put some asterisks. And just so if they click on the product page, it's just a little reminder, people are busy. It's high visibility right there, and it will help. It's an optimization, but it's something that does
Yeah.
help. So that's just an example of both visibility and, again, make it easy for somebody to make a decision. Do I want this? If so, looks like I have to decide in the next 3 days.
Yep.
Okay, yes, or no, I'm not.
Yeah, I was going to
interested.
say, I think a lot of people are worried about overdoing it when it comes to a promotion and being that salesy, but more often than not, we end up underdoing it because you think just because you highlight it in your email, everyone's aware of it now at this point. And email, it's obviously a great strategy. We, go to bat for email a lot on this podcast,
Yeah.
but at the same time, we all know what email open rates are like. So being able to take some on-site placements to bring more awareness to an offer like this makes a lot of sense. So I
Yeah,
really like it. Something easy to, definitely something that anyone listening to this could implement on this quarter. And for some reason you haven't added a new product in the last 3 months or so, it's a good thing to be in the habit of, is always looking at what's new and what's next of what, because anytime that you, again, expand that offering and your product availability, that just expands what the people have opportunity to spend with you. So
again, own the fact. I think we're very big on, like, just one-to-one, talk to your customers like an email, like they're a friend. Like, just say, like, hey, last month without much fanfare, I introduced this item to our store. Well, today I want to give it the credit and the excitement on my behalf that it deserves. And you can kind of segue. That's just you being real, which people like to buy from people, and they like to buy from people that are real. So that's just a clarification. Also, keep in mind, you're going to have organic traffic. So that's why I'm really big on having multiple on-site, um, having visibility on site, because they may not have gotten an email. They may not be on your email list, but your website visitor will go to your store and say, oh, what's this thing? It's on sale for through December 10th.
Yep.
And they click on it and they can see more of that. So always remember, like, we want to capture as much organic traffic as possible. So anyhow.
Yep. Yep. I like it. So introductory pricing on new items. What do you have for number 2?
Number 2, one of my favorite things that we do is having segmented sales. So what this looks like is, and if you do this once a quarter for like a 7-figure business, this is probably a upper 5-figure, 6-figure campaign just in of itself. I'm very bullish on it. If you're a 6-figure, mid 6-figure business, this is probably a mid 5-figure campaign. So hopefully I've got your attention, because I've seen this with all the folks that I've worked with, and we do it on routine. Essentially what I mean with a segmented sale is you have something, and actually it turns maybe a potential burden into an opportunity. And so say you're long on an item, or you're discontinuing an item, right? What we want to do is identify an item or 2 or so, 2 or 3. Usually we keep it to 1. I can give you a little optimization or something to test, but to keep things simple for your first time, find an item you're long on that you want to move. Okay. Put it together, either offer a discount on the item individually, or package. Ideally you package, multi-pack of 4 of them, or 3 or 4 or 5, whatever that is, and offer it, and maybe leave a little bit more incentive. If the goal is to get rid or liquidate or get rid of a product that's expiring or something like that, right? That's kind of the criteria of the products I'd be looking for in your inventory. Okay, so you've got those, you want to have a little offer on them. And then what you can do is you identify people that have bought those items in the past, and then email them to tell them about it. So how we do this in Drip is how the integration works with GraceCard Direct is every time somebody purchases an item, they get tagged with purchase-beef bones, right? So we would go and show me all the people that have bought beef bones, like all the different varieties of beef bones, or maybe even, marrow bones, other even related, chicken backs, whatever it is. Like, you can get as broad as you want, but then you just kind of have to make sure you tweak your email copy. But for this example, let's just focus on, for example, because I'm going to do it actually today, I'm writing this email, is we have Brant messaged me and said, hey, we have a special on beef bones. If you want to do a segmented sale, perfect, right? So I'm going to go find the people who bought beef bones, beef marrow bones, and then I'm going to identify them in Drip, okay? And then I'm going to look to see if the people who have not made a purchase in the last probably 3 to 4 weeks, and I'm going to write them an email that basically says, and actually we've kind of branded this, like, this is Brant's, we tell the story. And every time we send this email, I'm Brant, I'm the 7th son. One of the things I do is I keep up with inventory and work with our processors, partners, whatnot. And today I'm reaching out because I have something you may be interested in. And then basically leading down the path of our surplus in this inventory. We have a more supply than we want. So we want to make sure that you as somebody who's bought these in the past knows that we have this price on this product. So does that make sense?
Yeah. So it's our loss is your gain. And the key here, which I really like that you're talking about and have brought this up, because what I see, and you probably see this too, Chad, but what I see often is that anytime we start talking about promotions and launches and sales, I'll see kind of a common mistake is people actually tend to want to build all of their promotions around items that they have heavy inventory on. So they have a reason to move it, and to, take a loss on their margin to move that. But the mistake we see there is that people make that their primary motion. They blast that to their entire list. So it might be a product that really isn't that exciting of a product, but yet they're emailing their entire list anyways, that it's on sale. And what happens there when you do that, everyone hates the email that ends up in their inbox, especially if it's a sales related email on a promotion or something like that, that you're not interested and is not relevant to you at all. And if you get so many of those ending up in your customer's inbox, then they're just going to train their mind to just tune your emails out because it's not ideal. So the key, what you're saying here is you can still do that. If you have a problem on inventory that's long, you can still make your loss your customers gain and move the product and correct that problem. But the key is making it a segmented promotion to people who are interested and it is relevant to them. And that happens through the segmentation you're talking about.
Yep. So that's exactly right. And again, we want to give people a deadline, like, hey, we're going to keep these around until that. So if it's something where you're just trying to eliminate your remaining inventory of something, hey, we have them until we have them, and then we don't, right?
Yep.
Or if it's something that you have a lot, you still want to give people a deadline, because it's like, yep, we've got them for sale forever. Like, well, people, there's no urgency. So
Yep.
through this month, while supplies remain, until we get in a better spot with our inventory, like that leaves some subjectivity to it. Those are things that we've done in the past. So giving them, and then link directly to the product. So the other thing that we do here is, again, we take advantage of we do put for example, the 5-pack or 4-pack of B phones in this example. We'll put, that'll be live on the site for anybody to buy. And we do leverage that red little tag, right? So that if it's organic traffic, they can still convert. Okay. But from an email perspective, that's what we do. We send them directly to the link to that,
Yep.
to that product, and
Yep.
give them a deadline. So that's special offer. Give them a deadline, acknowledge, hey, you've bought these in the past, or you've bought beef or chicken bones from us in the past, thought you might be interested.
Yep.
I would include a picture, like if you can, like just the one from your store is fine. And that's something that if you do it once a quarter, you'll move inventory from your freezer that you may not want to have there. And people will feel like, oh, well, thanks, Bram, for thinking of me. They actually like, wow, this actually, and it feels right. It's
And
not
it
an icky
truly is
sales
helpful
email.
because
It's right.
I was going to say it truly is helpful because you're identifying that group of customers who are the most likely and ready to buy because they bought it before, and you're looking at, it's highly intelligent. So you're looking at people who haven't placed an order just recently. So you're not asking them to order again when they just ordered
Correct.
yesterday.
Yeah. The last part from a visibility standpoint, which I kind of got sidetracked and forgot to get to, is that then we do include that segmented sale as a secondary part of our newsletter. It's not, to your point, we're not blasting, and specifically with something like beef bones or some of these more products that fewer people may be interested in, but
Yep.
there's people that are, like, they are interested, especially buying them from a quality regenerative farm, right? Or versus buying them at a big box, Sam's, Costco. Like they know, like, no, like nutrient leaching, like I
Yeah.
can't do the conventional stuff. I need the best. So if they're going to tell me that they're on sale, I'm going to take action. But we do put them in the newsletter as a secondary piece so that maybe you do convert somebody who's, maybe they've become a more informed consumer through your value-added email. And they're like, you know what? Maybe I need to make my own broth. Looks like this is an opportunity. I've not bought this stuff before, but it looks like if I want to try it, here's not for me to buy it at a better price. Does that make sense?
Yep. Yep. And kind of a final point I want to put on, because, what we want you to do is take what Chad's sharing. These things work, and take action on them. So implement on them. And obviously, we've been talking about kind of the advanced segmenting and intelligent emails that we're sending from the integration with Grace Cart and Drip. If you're not on that, it's definitely something you should implement. But at the same time, I would say don't let that be a reason to not start doing this, because even if you're a Grace Cart user, you can go into the platform, you can look at your orders, and there's the ability to filter those by certain products that people have purchased in the past. So this information is already in your system. You can find it, and then you can export, those customers and in email one-on-one or email BCC email blast or in your whatever email marketing tool that you're using. So there's ways that you can take action on this right now. We're giving you reasons to implement, the tools that Chad's talking about long-term, because it'll just make your life easier. And I think you'll be more motivated to do this, though, if you take action on it now.
Yes.
And, then there's opportunities to continue to rinse and repeat and do this type of strategy and operationalize it long-term. So,
yeah, thanks for clarifying that. That was a point that I had written in my notes, but I didn't cover. So I'm glad you had
there we go.
helped equip for how they can, take advantage of it.
All right. Well, what do we keep rolling on number 3? What's tip number 3?
Number 3 is launches. Like, it's been a core component of what Seven Sons has, again, as you've mentioned, has done since their first annual Wild for Seafood back in November of 2017. Actually became a customer back,
Nice.
and so I participated in that. So, and this is kind of segues into, I mean, we're gonna talk about launches here and some of the benefits for launches, but this is kind of the introduction to something we're excited to announce, is a specific training on launches. Okay,
Yep.
and we'll share more about that. But the reason, and again, this is a launch. This is a term. If you've been listening to this podcast or following Seven Sons and or the Grace Cart emails for even 3 or 4 years, like you've heard this term, you know that it's something that is something we've a strategy we've implemented and stuck with, but also made changes over time. But what doesn't change with why we like launches is launches with it injects revenue into your business. It gives your most loyal customers a reason to buy. It presents a great offer to people who are on the fence to become customers for the first time. It reactivates people who fall out of habit with doing business with your brand. It is an opportunity to better educate your most loyal customers with value added content you will be developing to kind of pre-sell when you open the doors on your launch. You have more buzz, you have more customer engagement with back and forth with support, with questions. Conversations are a great metric. It shows people are interested in what you're doing. Same thing with dialogue or comments on social posts and DMs, and you'll grow your email list. So for all those reasons, they continue to be a key part of what we do. And I'm sure there's more. That was just me.
Yep.
I ran out of fingers.
Yep. I was going to say,
five and I had to stop.
a lot of reasons to do this. We love this strategy, and I'm sure I'll throw some things in here too, Chad. But for anyone who's hearing this term for the first time, okay, a launch or a product launch, what are the key components of what make that up, and what differentiates that than what we've been talking about earlier with a new product, kind of promotion and this segmented promotion? What are the key components of a product, that term that we use, product launch?
Yeah. So I would introduce it first as it's a little bit longer term sales cycle where you're doing some pre-selling, or you are talking about, without people really even kind of knowing yet, you're providing valuable content to educate people about one of your products or your brand, or maybe a new fulfillment service you're planning to do. Like for example, why home delivery is the future of direct to consumer,
Yep.
For food producers, whatnot. You can educate people, help them become more informed about a topic, and then you basically create a lot of buzz around. And if you found this information helpful over the past X weeks or days, then we're actually going to have something super exciting coming for you next week. You're going to want to make sure that you stick with. So you kind of build anticipation. Not only do you do education up front, but you build a lot of anticipation, excitement around a short-term window to then have an offer related to what you just taught.
Yep.
So and then you continue to educate during the sale. One other thing, which we'll get through, is that oftentimes you want to this is a scary thing for people, is that you want to, when you do some pre-selling, and then you say, if you're interested in learning about this cool thing we have coming up, this great savings event, then click here on this button, or click this link and submit your name or email into this form, and we'll keep you on our special launch list. So you get all the information that you'll want about the sale, and even more training. And if you're not interested, no big deal. We won't message you. So it makes people make a decision. It's a micro commitment, but by someone clicking yes, they're indicating they're interested. And then you're not inundating people who aren't interested with emails that they really don't care about. And then they stay on your list, versus unsubscribing if they're getting hammered with emails they have no interest in. So,
and that kind of makes it like a major differentiation between what we were talking about before. It's a launch, major initiative, product promotion, something new that you want all of your ideal customers to be aware of, or it's a major initiative enough that you are going to do a lot of work into creating content, information, sharing about that thing, and pre-selling it like you're talking about. And since there's that many communication points about this major thing, promotion, initiative, you're asking people if they're interested up front. So that way you kind of create a dividing line in the sand between people who are not, because you are going to have a lot of information, sales information, pre-sales information, emails that are going to be sent out regarding this thing. So you don't want to overburden anyone who's just really not interested.
Right.
Got
Yeah.
it.
So three quick examples that in other, just in our life that where you're being launched, right? And you may or may not know it. Some examples. So, for example, and things have changed with COVID the last few years in the film industry, but keep in mind, like Friday nights are a big deal with every week where now they're on Netflix and all these streaming services. But back, 3 or 4 years ago, like you would see previews for movies while you were watching television or while you were scrolling Facebook or Instagram, and it builds excitement so that on opening weekend, everyone shows up and gets their popcorn and their 50-ounce soda and all these things, and it's an event. You're part of something that you're excited about. And then what do they do on Monday? Who was the big winner of the box office this weekend? So
Yep.
that's essentially a launch. Apple crushed it. They had was it the fall when they have their big Apple event?
Yep.
And they
September.
introduce their new item and they talk about it and they pre-educate and they show how it's going to work. And then 6 to 8 weeks later, there are lines outside of every Apple store because people have already been sold. They've already made the decision to buy. They just have to show up when the doors open. Those are, I guess, two examples, that hopefully that makes sense, because we're basically duplicating much of that with a launch.
Yep, that makes sense. I know anyone who's listening, and I can raise my hand to being an Apple geek, and I have fallen victim, or I should probably choose a more positive term, but have definitely fallen into the excitement that has been created and the passion that's created from those Apple events before the product's ready for me to purchase. And then when it is, I'm sold. It's the pre-selling, and movie trailers is the same thing. Two great examples. So
there's a lot of psychological triggers, and actually we've done $2,500 trainings. You guys invested in the product launch formula by Jeff Walker. Actually, his book is somewhere behind me here. We bought the course, so we've invested a ton of time and dollars to making this a key component of what we do. And that's what we want to share with our training. We'll share what some of those psychological triggers are, what the sequence of events leading up and during the launch are, and things of that nature.
Yep. So it's like Chad mentioned, there's a lot that goes into creating a successful launch. I would say, we've invested in that course with Jeff Walker, whereas we were initially turned on to this. But if you turn around on the internet, there's a lot of people talking about this. And literally, I think we were talking before the call, Chad, how long is that training? How many hours worth of content does Jeff go into in that course?
There's 50 to 60 videos.
Yeah. Great stuff. But what we want to do, and Chad's been alluding to it with, we talked about when we introduced the episode, is we're having a live training coming up here in March. What we want to do is because this strategy has had a huge impact for our business ever since, really, it took a lot of confidence to kind of take this material and try to apply it to what we're doing, because Jeff Walker, if you do your research, or maybe if you've heard of him, read the book, a lot of the training, his ideal customer are online coaches and guru. People are selling really more digital information type products. So we were actually concerned with it actually being able to apply it to a retail business and an e-commerce business setting where we're selling not just physical products, but perishable physical products. How's this going to translate? But ever since our first launch, it passed our wildest expectations. Chad, you've been on board, who've been instrumental in helping us take that foundation and do many more and surpass that original launch many, many times into the future. So we can attribute a lot, like I mentioned, a lot of our revenue to specifically, we've talked about other product promotion ideas, but specifically the major launches that we've done in the past. Every year we do one for our Wild for Seafood event. So if you've followed Seven Sons for very long, you've probably seen some information about that. Chad mentioned we're doing our winter beef sale currently at this time period right now. But there's a lot that goes into architecting, making this work well. And what basically, Chad, you've agreed to do for us is take the information that we've learned from Jeff, that you've learned from working with us, and you've implemented this with many other clients as well, and have seen, fantastic results with them. So that's been proven to be replicatable. We want to translate that into something that you can take action on yourself. Anything else you want to share, just kind of pre-selling the training and giving you reasons why you need to show up about the training?
Yep. Yeah. And so just a little bit of more social proof, which is one of the triggers, right?
Yep.
That we'll talk about in this training, is that Seven Sons was so successful with implementing this in e-commerce with perishable foods that they are actually a case study for Jeff Walker.
Yep.
Right. So Blaine connected with and was part of the pre-launch to help educate potential pre-launch or the launch buyers or product launch from the buyer. So Blaine was interviewed by Jeff Walker. That was pretty cool. And then actually Jeff bought boxes of Seven Sons beef, I believe, for like multiple staff members. So, it's been a neat relationship there. But so what we'll be talking about, actually, there's a lot to cover, and it's going to be it's actually going to be a 2-part training, 2 90-minute trainings. The first one again will be March 16th, which is a Wednesday. Then the follow up to that will be mid to late April. We'll still kind of flesh that out, but let me give you an idea, kind of what to expect. And let me pull up my notes here just so I can be super clear. So here's what we're doing different, because we've talked about this in the past launches, but things have changed. We have innovated. We've had to change the timing to accompany or to coordinate fulfillment that actually works, so you don't overload vehicles. So we're going to talk about what's changed with how we promote it. But I was talking with both Blaine and Brooks about this, where I think we need to spend more time on so that anyone can apply this, is to help you create an offer, to help you understand the story you can tell about an offer that people are dramatically more likely to say yes to, that works with your inventory, that works with your margins. So we're going to spend time on part 1, helping you create your irresistible offer, and then develop a timeline that you can be comfortable with to work ahead, to make time to, if you had to plan with any partners or processors, or if you're going to co-market this with anybody, there's going to be a time frame. So part 1 is developing your offer, looking at your inventory, looking at what you're good at selling, looking at the time of year you want to do this. All those things we'll cover to create an offer that a multi-tier offer, meaning like there's a main offer that you really are pushing, but then there's secondary offers that you can introduce that will maybe speak to different buyers, so that more people can participate and kind of have a barrier to, or an entry into the sale. So that's going to be part 1. Part 2, then we'll go into the how you promote it, both with email, how to incorporate complimentary social media posts, and also a really key component for us is building a sales page and showing you like what key components you want to have on a sales page, which is basically a content page on GraceCart, just like your homepage, but it's a separate page for this event that, again, focuses on helping people come to a decision about your product, and keeping it simple, and really giving visibility, kind of coming full circle here with our call, to your offer. So those are going to be the 2 parts, and we'll be sharing a lot of examples. We'll be doing some screen sharing. We'll be on Zoom, and then share not just examples from Seven Sons, but I'm going to talk to some folks that I've worked with and say, hey, can I walk through your sales page? Because I think what we did was great, and I want to, equip and empower other people to have the same similar successes that you had.
Well, as you mentioned, we've done similar training in the past. We've always received incredible feedback on it. And, it's definitely information, as you can probably tell, and you're listening to Chad kind of dig into what we're going to be, the meat and potatoes, what we'll be getting into on those trainings. But this is definitely something that it's been a strategy that's impacted our business enough as a podcast can't justify it. So that's why we're going to be doing a live training, probably on Zoom, so you guys can actually see, again, what the results that we've had, and get fully equipped to take action after your training. So first one, Chad, March 16th, I think we decided.
March 16th.
Six.
Yep, March 16th, and then mid to late April will determine, kind of where we land there. Because we also, again, this is an important point. Like this takes time. Like it is a strategy that
Yep.
you're not going to. So the soonest that you would launch is like 1 month from the day you learn about it. That would be
Yep.
the soonest because there's time to prepare. And here's the other part, just as I kind of wrap up here. It's important to me that we give information that gives you a timeline and a roadmap and a stepwise process to basically do this and feel as less stress as possible. Like I want you to be able to have your work done, and so then card opens and maybe you can engage with the people that are participating. But that's an important point. Is there's some time involved between saying, yep, I want to do this, and opening cart, because you got to deliver the pre-launch content, you've got to create the content.
Yep.
And so that's what I'm most excited about is that I always wear that hat of how can we do this and work ahead and feel excited, but not super stressed about getting everything done on a certain timeline.
Yep. Yep.
We'll do.
Well, Chad, I really appreciate you jumping on, sharing some insights here that, again, if you're listening, talking about new introductory products that you can make promotions on, those segmented launches, those are things you can start doing now. And if you've never really done promotion before, you've been hesitant to ask your customers for the sale, we encourage you to implement on those two things, because again, we're going to be going deeper into the real strategy that, again, has just had a huge impact on us, that does take more work to do with these live trainings. And I think if you implement on the first two things that Chad has mentioned, you see the value that you get from that, times that by tenfold or something similar to that, it will be the results that you could get from a well executed, well crafted product launch. So we're excited about the training. If you're listening, there will be a link probably at the bottom of wherever you listen to this. If you get back to the website or just email our team, we'll make sure that you get registered for the webinar. There'll be a live training too. So if you've stumbled across this episode way into the future, still follow the link, because we'll make this resource available for you guys long-term. So Chad, thanks so much for joining. I know we're going to have a second episode here coming up. So really appreciate you joining, and we'll hear more from you soon.
Thanks for having me.